Ooh, woo! Jesus.
It is 10 a.m. We're right outside Taipei in Yilan.
We're at Fuge Shiyaoji and we're about to check out some of the most traditional kiln roasted chicken in Taiwan.
They're about to light the fire right now, so let's take a look. Welcome to the kitchen. First thing in the morning, what chef is going to do is fire these logs with gas until he gets a very nice consistent temperature.
There's no flavor for the wood. It really just acts as a heating agent for the entire drum. They're using probably recycled wood, controls fire really well. So the chickens here, in Taiwan there's this thing called 温体鸡.
Okay.
温体鸡means it's slaughtered in the morning, delivered in the afternoon.
So literally warm body chicken, right?
Warm body. So breed is called 黑羽鸡, black feather chicken. It's a lot meatier, the skin is thinner. So let's go look at the salting process. His hands are soaking wet. He dabs his fingers into the bucket of salt, and then he uses that sort of salt water mixture on his hands to rub it all over the chicken.
This is cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's a small amount of salt.
Yeah, it's very minimal.
These vertical skewers, this is what's really cool. The chicken is roasting straight up, kind of like a beer can chicken type of thing. Because of the way they're positioned, with the water pan in the bottom, it's going to go inside of the cavity of the chicken, which means that it's going to cook inside out. On the outside, it's going to be continually dried, but the added moisture of the air is actually going to make that air hotter faster. That is kind of counterintuitive. People usually think if you add water to a roasting process, your skin won't be crispy. But the water in this case will actually accelerate the heat and it'll still give you crispy skin. It's a technique that a lot of fine dining fancy chefs have in their combi ovens, which is a combination of dry and wet heat. This is exactly not quite replicated because it precedes that high-end technology.
Each oven fits 16 chickens. 4 total is 64 chickens. And chefs just told me that they have about 60 tables, so it's very serendipitous and very efficient. And on the weekends, they sell up to 400 chickens. That's 5 turns on all 4 ovens. Wow.
有一点上色。
上色. So every about 20 minutes or so, they need to rotate it. If you look at the bottom of the pit, the water has basically all dissipated and now the drippings have begun to form. 这个放了多久了？刚刚放进来40分钟吗？还是20分钟？
差不多大概20分钟。
Okay. Yeah, so the chicken's only been in here for 20 minutes. This is the first turn. So they need to do 3 turns in total.
With a lot of these ancestral cooking techniques, the temperature regulation isn't with the thermometer and a dial. Heat comes in from the bottom here via the wood. He's controlling the burn rate by feeding more wood or letting it just turn into embers. And on the other end, the output of the heat is controlled with the lid over the top. He has a little wooden plank, a little wooden brick. He can control the amount of airflow. The more airflow, the hotter it gets. But also, as he opens that lid, he's going to release the heat so that he can bring down the temperature.
There are hot zones in the oven, and the hottest area in the oven is the one that's closer by the pipe, towards the end there of the oven. 那你是怎么去控制说，那只鸡会比较快好吗？
那一只鸡会比较快好。
Okay. So the chickens closest to the pipe will finish faster than the rest of the batch.
The thing is, like, every single time you go to kitchens where they're roasting whole animals and it's that elemental, a lot of it just comes down to experience and the monitoring of the day-to-day. I'm sure that the temperature of the climate is going to affect how it cooks that day. I'm sure how often he feeds it, the quality of the wood, the wetness of the wood, all of those need to be adjusted on a day-to-day basis.
These restaurants aren't really scalable.
Yeah.
Because it's so reliant on the chef's
And it
skill.
has to be here.
Exactly. Ooh, woo! Way more smoke than I thought. Holy.
Look at how even the skin is. There's nothing really burned at all.
Yeah.
Chef was telling us earlier, the perfect chicken has the skin puffed up, which is to say that all of that water inside of that chicken becomes steam, pushes the skin outwards so that it's a thinner membrane that then crisps, and you know that you have chicken cooked properly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Holy cow.
Do you see that consistent golden brown? You see how thin that skin is? It's like paper. All that fat, all that chicken juice.
This is our gravy later.
Everything that we lost by cooking it, we have retained. It's about 11. The first customers are starting to come in. So the first kiln of chicken is done. It's going to rest in that barrel in the back. Some of it is going to the high temperature oven to crisp. And the next batch of raw chicken goes straight back in to the first oven. Nuts. This skin is really it really reminds you of Peking duck. This guy was slaughtered about 10 hours ago, quickly brined, I suppose, like rubbed with salt basically, and then straight into the oven, low temperature, high temperature, roasts, skin is crispy, already on the table.
Just look at the glassiness of the skin, man.
First,
Oh my goodness.
first, did you catch that?
Ow.
It's like you can hear the skin just crackle.
It's shatteringly crisp. Traditionally, when you see roast chicken in Chinese restaurants, they cut it with cleavers.
Right.
But here, because it's so piping hot, if you cut it with cleavers, the flesh falls apart.
Right.
So they use scissors to precisionally cut it.
Yeah.
Or you can get gloves
Yeah.
and just tear away.
The carnal way of eating something this ancestral and this proper. First thing that comes off is the neck and the head, the feet, and then the wings, each of the legs, down by the joints, and the backs of the chicken are chopped into pieces. Chef is taking it apart and roughly assembling it again so that it resembles a little bit of a chicken.
I'm amazed at how crispy this is.
I'm amazed because there's nothing done to it, you know?
It
Fresh
just proves
chicken.
good ingredients, good technique, every single time.
Nothing whets your appetite like that crispy skin, that juicy flesh. It seems like the perfect type of thing.
Finally our turn. But also, they are very, very famous for their bamboo. So they
Right.
take all the drippings.
Right.
Because it's a lot of drippings from one chicken, right? So the excess gets made into raised bamboo.
Right.
So it's chicken fat bamboo.
Yeah.
不好意思，我们点菜。
好啊，
那麻烦我们要2只鸡，
是，然后要
一只切，
切
一只手扒。然后我们还要鸡汁焖笋，
好，
再来一个炒水莲好了。
好，
对
这样子应该够。哇，咁快，谢谢。
So the chicken itself, roasted fresh out of the hot oven, a little bit of white pepper seasoning on the side. I'm assuming there's a bit of salt and sugar in there
So
too.
there's probably white pepper, salt, sugar, MSG, and it's a proprietary blend, but you know, the core basics are the same.
And then there's a little bit of the chicken jus on the side, so it's mostly fat. That's a yellow on the top and a little bit of liquid on the bottom. And gloves, because we're gonna take it apart ourselves,
Yeah.
right? Is this This is very romantic. When my mom and my dad were dating and they didn't have money to buy an extra pair of gloves, they would hang out in Canada and hold each other's hands, and then with the ungloved hand and have it inside of their coat pocket to keep warm, and the other one they would share one single pair of gloves. This reminds me of that.
That sounds painful, not romantic. I don't know, man.
how
shit,
is it?
shit. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. There we
I
go.
feel like they saved the best for us. The magic is when you turn it on its side and you see there's no fat on it, because all of that fat that was on that chicken had rendered out, and it's down here, right? You're heating fat so that it becomes liquid. It does two things. One is that it's basting the skin inside out, so it's basically frying in its own fat. And second, because this liquid is off the skin now, everything left just becomes crispy. It's you're never gonna get this with a regular GMO'd conventional chicken.
And it's way, way meatier. I can squeeze it, and it's not falling apart. This in the mouth is texture. It's all just texture. I'm just smelling a symphony of chicken.
Dude, the minute you touch the chicken and you can smell it on your gloves,
Look right here. It's rendering onto the gloves.
all yellow
Literally.
fat.
Are you kidding me? Look at that right here, that pocket of juice.
Look at that inside. So juicy. I mean, they've really nailed the cook on here by itself first.
Cheers.
Cheers. 好香. Good, very good. Very good.
It's actually salty enough, right? There's a good amount of salinity
Right.
in this. And when you bite it with a little bit of that unrendered fat, it just completely fizzes.
The skin is the best part.
Skin truly is.
The skin is so good. I expected no smokiness at all, but it is a little bit smoky.
Just a tiny bit.
It's got like a hint of smoke, like a touch of.
I think like just the smoke leaches in.
Right.
And also, at the end of the day, like the chicken is still creating a
Yeah.
lot of steam, right? And it's catching on whatever was left over from the last cook.
Definitely.
And that's the previous chicken batch is seasoning the current chicken batch.
Right.
The pepper there is not really ceremonial. It's about creating different flavor profiles. Because if you're just eating chicken after chicken after chicken bite,
So white pepper is the pepper fruit fermented, lacto fermented, which means that it picks up some of this. Some people call it stinky, but it has that like fragrance. That really lends itself to the chicken, as well as a lot of Taiwanese cuisine.
Yep.
By the way, one of the best cuts of the chicken, if you're sharing a whole chicken with your friends or family, is on that back, on the spine near the butt. Right up here is the chicken oyster. I mean, it looks a little bit like an oyster, but it's a pocket next to the chicken thigh. If you watch our episode on goose, they refer to this part as the olam, as the brisket of the goose. Probably the most tender piece on the entire chicken.
That's
right?
the chef's snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yum.
It's bouncy. Yeah. The meat is bouncy.
Yeah.
It has a springiness to it.
And it's self-contained.
Yes. So on the theme of chicken, this sauce is this juice.
So it's bamboo braised with scallions and the chicken fat.
Chicken fat.
You can see all the layers of the bamboo in the middle. You see that gloss. You can see the glaze of the chicken over the top. A little bit of that scallion. Papery thin. Yum.
Oh my goodness. It's even more chickeny than the chicken. I think because they
so
braised
good.
it for a long time.
Dude, I love bamboo. I like the variety of bamboo. I love it in Taiwan.
Holy cow.
Dude,
Get
what
the
if we
bamboo.
made this whole episode about chicken and actually the bamboo is like kind of the best part?
Oh, 谢谢. Water lily. Another vegetable that is pretty unique to Taiwan. I'm sure you can get it elsewhere, but it is everywhere in Taiwan.
I mean, they look like scallions, but they're not scallions.
They're not
right?
scallions. It's like vegetable in noodle form.
Yeah. Every time they make a stir fry, even these greens, they'll drizzle a little bit of chicken fat over the end just to give it that punch of chickenness. It ties the whole thing together. How香.
Garlic, chicken fat, and vegetables. You kidding me?
This really feels like the type of place that you can only have in Taiwan.
Yep.
It's a heritage breed of chicken. It's the ancestral approach to the cooking. It's the purity of it all, and it's the experience of the chefs. Really, really incredible.
Again, to reiterate, come here, get the whole chicken, get the bamboo. You're welcome.
On to the next.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
I got one more piece here. One more
Yeah,
skin.
one more. Me too. Me too.
I'll take this out and go.
The way some people add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil just at the end for that aromatic punch, they add a little bit of that chicken fat too for their stir fries.
Just a little drizzle of schmaltz.
Give it a little bit more lift.
That